Good afternoon and welcome to Milestone Mondays. Today we're having Dr. Dawn Menge join us again. She was here yesterday. She was sharing about her Following Your Passions on Soulful Sundays. So if you haven't seen that video, go on and check that back from yesterday. And I'm so glad you're here with us again today. Dawn, how are you doing today?
Hi, how's everybody?
Good. So you've won like 41 awards for your books, and you've achieved a PhD, and you teach disabled students. And of course, you did that all overnight, right?
Well, kind of 10 years worth of overnights.
Right?
It just went like that.
Exactly. So we'd like to dive in a little bit more on some of the struggles that you went through to achieve those milestones, and share with us kind of how you got there and some of your path to those achievements.
Well, these two things I started when I was getting divorced. So I decided that I needed to, I got married at 19, had 3 kids, they're all grown. And it's like, okay, so this is my time. What am I going to do with it? Things weren't going well with the divorce. And so I needed to start my own path. So I started my PhD, and I did that because this is my brother. Now my books are based on real people. So my little brother, Heath, is an astronomer at JPL. And he decided that he encouraged me to try to get my PhD. And when I was in high school, I could tell you, that would never have occurred to me at all. So I did, and it took me 7 years and a lot of, I can't do this. I don't want to do this anymore. Oh my gosh. But I got so far into it, you couldn't change your mind. So I finally did it, and it was a great milestone. And because of that, I actually am a lecturer at our local university, which I really love doing. I help teach the teachers that are coming in, and I really love doing that. But I only do it, I'm kind of like a sub-lecturer. So last year I taught 2 case law classes. And then this year I don't have any to teach, but that's something I'd like to do when I stop teaching in the classroom. I would like to work with the teachers that are coming in and observe them in their classrooms and things. So that is a milestone that I really did want to do. Once I started my PhD, I really wanted to be a lecturer at the university and do that when I retire. So I am making that milestone work. And part of working with students with disabilities, I also was doing a lot of traveling up to Sacramento, which is our capital, and working with the California Department of Education and the Educational Testing Service, and we're developing the standardized tests that our students take. So we go up there and we work on committees with other teachers, and we create new questions or review questions or analyze the data that came in on how they answered the questions, what we could do to make it not easier, but more accessible for our students. And we work with course subject teachers. So if we're building a math question, we will work with math teachers or science teachers or English teachers. So it's very passionate up there, let me tell you.
Right.
Some of it we're like, okay, we can't agree. Everybody just write what they want, but it's just part of what I'm doing in my life. And when I'm doing that, it's affecting 1% of the population in California. I think they said it's like 300,000 students. So, that's a huge impact. So, that was something that I hadn't planned. When you talk about milestones of your life, you can make a plan and you start on the plan, but you have to be really aware that your plan is not a straight line. It's not a straight road. It's a windy, curvy, up and down road, and you have to go with it. And you have to say, if an opportunity comes up and you never thought about doing it, or you have to say, you know what, I'm going to try that. For a while there, I was having, there's always some downsides to everything. There was a time when I was actually being stalked in my home. And I was getting really discouraged with my books and things. And I actually joined the Society of Children's Books Writers and Illustrators, and they're a professional organization. And that was one of the best things that I ever did. They taught me how to be be more professional with my books, because when I started, I wasn't doing anything with my books. I wasn't having book signings or anything. That didn't occur to me at all. And you'd have New York Times bestselling authors treating you just so nice and helping you and telling you how hard it was for them to be there. They didn't just wake up one day and like, oh, wow, here we are. you know, they had a lot of rejections and a lot of, discouragement. And but that was one of the best things that I did. And so Kwame Alexander has a speech, and it's on YouTube if anybody wants to watch it. And it's called Yes. So he said, you have to say yes. So I was sitting in the back of the conference. There's like thousands of people at the end of a weekend. And I was so tired, but I'm like, okay, I'm going to listen to this last one. And I sat on the floor in the back. That's how crowded it was. And listened to him. And I did what he said, And so I started saying yes to opportunities. So I do work for Story Monster magazine. It's an educational magazine. And I write book reviews. I've done a lot of events with them in Tempe, Arizona. So I drive like 6 hours to go to an event. I've gone to schools there and did things with their schools. And I also judge some of their literary contests. And they have been an incredible help just on the professional level and, just helping me along. And they're a great support. So when you're creating milestones or stepping stones of, okay, this is this, there are so many things that are going to happen to you that you don't know. You don't know yet. So you have to, if I didn't say yes to things, I wouldn't know any of this. I wouldn't be doing any of this. And I love to read, but I don't get a chance to read anything unless it's technical. So there was an editor it's called Indie Tale Magazine. It's for romance authors who are indie authors. And they were looking for judges. So I said, you know what? I'm going to try that because I'm going to read. So I think this is my 4th or 5th year doing it. So every summer I get like 4 or 5 books, and I usually do like the sweet romance, and I get to read them and I get to judge them. And so I would never have thought, when I was 18 years old, getting out of high school and just getting married, none of this was anywhere in my plot plan at all.
And it's really interesting when you're saying yes to things, because that's the only way we've met. Because I actually I signed up for a 5-day course on developing podcasts or whatever, and the assignment was to do that application. Well, I just posted the homework, not expecting any responses. See, and then she responded, and I'm like, oh, she looks so interesting. I'm so glad she responded, and we can have a really neat week with her. And so yes, saying yes is a big to do in achieving that milestones.
Right. And I was doing one and with somebody, it's been several months, but he said he was talking to his friend, and his friend knew who I was because they'd been checking out my books. And I think they lived in St. Louis, and checking out my books in the library. I didn't even know my books were in the library there. It's like, how did they get there? Yeah. But she had taken a second job so that she could travel with her son. Now, if I hadn't said yes to him, I would not have known that. I would have not had any idea that my books were in the library on the other side of the country. You don't know things. Right. And the reason that I'm doing a lot of something I started during the pandemic was to start networking more, because I'm home. I wasn't traveling and exhausting myself. But part of being stalked and harassed, you kind of like don't want to be out in the open, because you don't know what's going to happen if you're going to get retaliated because of it. So I've been really, trying to put myself out there and to have interviews and getting used to public speaking again. And, so that's part of my saying yes to you was having an opportunity to share my story, my true story, my real story, and to talk to other people and maybe help someone else who's maybe gone through a hard time or has been harassed by people, or maybe there's things happening to them and they don't know exactly what it is and they're not getting enough support. So I'm here to say, yes, it happens. It happens more than you really think that it does and you want it to. And I actually had to sell my house. And then when that was happening, I actually looked it up, and it really wasn't as uncommon as you would think, that people are harassed that much that they have to sell their homes and move. I just thought, oh my gosh, but it's not that uncommon. So that makes you feel a little bit better, not better,
right.
but that, it's not.
You're not alone. Yeah, you're not alone. Right.
So, I'm here to say, yes, it happens. It happened to me. I did everything I could to make it stop, and it didn't stop. So I had to sell my house and start over again. But here I am.
And all the more better for it too, because some of those things that are obstacles are actually that door closing so the other one can open.
Right. And one thing I did is I wrote this book, and I have a really good friend. She's been my assistant for over 20 years. She was following me through all my schools, and she was helping me through all of it. And we were actually sitting in the sheriff's office talking to a detective, and he confirmed who was doing it. We just couldn't stop it. And so we drove to Vegas for the weekend, and we wrote this book on the way to Vegas. It just came to us. It was after this went on for 3 years in my home, and this was another year where it continued after I sold my home. And we literally wrote this in a 3-hour drive. It just came to us, it just flowed. And it's a story about King Teddy Bear and Queen Giggles. And this, of course, is a kingdom because, well, we have kingdoms.
Right.
But this lady had called me a dragon slayer. So I, of course, put a dragon. See, the bad person is a dragon. And the dragon is blowing. I want to tell the plot of the story, but the dragon is, causing problems in the kingdom and telling the king, how much she's helping everybody until he catches her. And right now it's trending in the UK. I read it for a podcast called Bedtime Stories, and it's trending in the UK. And I gave it to somebody on Instagram, and the video trailer was watched 12,000 times in 2 days last week.
Wow.
So, and this lady was on there, and she's an author, and I think she said she's a nurse, and she was looking for stories to read with her son on her site. So I gave her the book. And this was only like last weekend, I think. And her and her son, he was 6 years old, and they read this story. And they were so cute together. This little boy, he was learning vocabulary and comprehension and problem solving. I mean, he was giving the king all these ideas of how to catch the dragon, what he should have done. And then at the end of the story, he decided that the dragon didn't mean to hurt anybody. Mm-hmm. And just the whole thought process that was going through his mind, it was like perfect. It's exactly what an educator and an author of children's stories wants someone to be getting out of their book. There's a parent and a child completely interacting and learning life lessons and how to be nice and, not to hurt people, and how he was processing all of that. And so, right there, I've already affected somebody in a positive way.
Right.
And so who knows, maybe out there, my experiences will help someone else, so that's what.
Yeah. As an author, especially even if you're not an author, sharing your stories is one of the best ways of sharing how you've achieved your milestones, that even though it is, like you said, it's not overnight.
And it's not easy. It's not a straight path. It's not, nothing bad ever happened to that person. That's how they did all this stuff. No. You just have to keep going,
Right. Keep on that, keep that movement moving. So, well, that was really intriguing. And I know like she said, it took her like 10 years to get to where all she's accomplished. She's got several books in her series here. And we're going to have some information later in the week on how you can connect with all the her books and all of that. And I'll put that all in our comments on each of the videos. And she's going to join us again on Women to Women Wednesdays. So I'm excited to hear she's going to talk about never giving up on our Women to Women Wednesdays. So join us again. And thank you, Dawn, for sharing that with us today.
Yeah.
And we'll see you again on Wednesday.
All right.